Alrighty. Should be about ready to go live. Just checking on some stuff. Let's see. Okay, I think we should be pretty much good. Stop that music and go to this stuff. Alrighty. Okay. Camera's all blurry. Why are you out of focus? Alright. And... Oop. Cool. So... Oh. What? Why is that on? Why is the ad thingy on? Hold the phone. We are not in ads right now. Why is the ad thingy on? Can you go away? There we go. That's better. I don't know what that was doing on. Is the stream laggy or is my computer being slow? It's a little of column A, little of column B, it looks like. Why are you overloaded? What's happening? What is different than usual? Why are you overloaded? Why? I don't understand. Appear to be having some technical difficulties. What is happening? Why are we dropping like 10 FPS? Okay, it's here too. What? Why? Okay, can we also then get rid of these? Like, what is happening? Why are we at ridiculous frame rate. Okay, OBS is doing things, which, yeah, that tracks. They're freaking out. I mean, I get it. The encoder's overloaded, but why is the encoder overloaded? These are the same settings we use every week. I honestly don't have a clue. It seems like maybe it's calmed down. I'm not dropping frames anymore. Have we calmed our tits? All right. I don't know what was happening. I have no idea. I didn't change anything. Not settings-wise. I mean, admittedly, that the capture computer's hardware is a little dated, but I mean, it shouldn't be that much of a problem. It's running the latest OS. So, I don't really know how to improve it, to be honest. I'll have to look into what my options are. It might be possible to run it as like, to see how OBS and stuff perform on like Linux. Maybe if I run it as a Linux box, there'll be less overhead. In any case, the general plan for this evening was to start on the inventory. Excuse me. Hey, Save. Thanks for welcoming back. We are about to have an ad break, I think, in about 3 minutes. So the general plan for this evening, right before I had some weird frame rate issues for a bit, was to start the inventory system. There is actually already a little bit of framework laid for that. When I was initially setting up the project, there were some things I set up, like an inventory component, inventory item stuff. Early on, there was some stuff we coded because we coded stuff like the tape machine that's going to be used for save points because we needed a consumable item for that. So, and like item combination data. So we coded a framework sort of for our inventory early on, consumable items, inventory items, that kind of thing. Um, so there is a C++ level of sort of framework for the inventory, but this was going to be to actually get it implemented and get it working. But I discovered an issue. So last couple streams we were working on menus and stuff, and one of the things we also did was go ahead and set up a credits screen as well, so I could start logging credits, because also my intention is to start posting stuff to like Patreon, and to have Patreon tiers where people can get their name in the credits, that kind of thing. But I want to make sure that I have an easy way to start logging that stuff. And so I was setting up the credit system, and I ran into a bug. And we've had this bug before on stream, and I fixed it previously, but I don't remember how I fixed it. And I don't remember what stream it was, so I can't go back and check the VODs. And that is when I open the menu, the freaking, like, yeah, the first thing that comes up is the credit screen, which is a problem. I distinctly recall having this issue when we added the accessibilities widget, but I don't know how I fixed it. But we had the same problem. And I recall having to do something. It had something to do... Wait. This is the only one, like, not set to collapsed. Well, the controls widget one isn't either, which is strange. But these others are all set to collapsed. So, with the exception of the options overview widget. Which honestly, I would think that that one would not start collapsed. I don't remember changing that. Okay, let's save that. We've just hit an ad break. I'm gonna launch this and see what happens. Okay, so they all need to be collapsed. That actually, I mean, that makes sense, but I don't know why the controls one wasn't. They all have to be collapsed, though, because we load the options menu in when we load the pause or even the start menu. When we load those menus, all of the submenus are already loaded. They're just collapsed. So you don't see them by default. But I don't know why those were not collapsed already. Because they were working. The other ones were working before. So that's a little strange. Okay, so we're back on. We got this far. This looks good. All right. Well, Why is the ad break thingy's not going away? StreamerBot, are you broken? What? Are you broken? What is happening? Oh, it went away. It was just like super delayed. I'm not a fan of that. Alright, so we had an error. Which is strange. It had an error trying to read the credits soundtrack, but that data is here. It doesn't get deleted. So I'm not sure about that one. Oh, Save, have you seen the new concept art yet that I have been I posted it on social media and then on Discord and stuff. You can go to, I mean, I can pull it up on screen, but sure, go ahead and go to Discord. I'll pull it up on screen though, in case anybody wants to see it. Got this. This is updated concept art for our player character. There were a couple different face designs, but I think ultimately we're going kind of this route. In the lower corner. I am wanting to try, like, one of the reasons I went with this artist who I've not heard the name pronounced. I'm assuming it's Akuaria. We'll have to get her to actually tell me how it's pronounced, but given that she's, I think, Greek, it could be pronounced differently. I do not know. Yeah, butt cheeks. I got a funny story about butt cheeks. So I really liked the art style that she has, and I'm gonna try to find a way to sort of bring this same lined style. Originally the game wasn't gonna be that heavily stylized. This has almost like I don't know, it almost gives me like a Telltale Games Borderlands feel, and I don't know if I can quite do that, but I'll see if I can't bring that to life. So the butt cheeks are funny because when we were, one of the things I was focused on was making sure that the references were lined up and everything. So as she would send me in progress sketches, I was doing a thing where I would like take perfectly straight lines and line up across to make sure that features were proportional across each of the drawings, especially the front and the side. And there were a few places, even on the very first sketch, most of it was accurate. There were a few places that were a little off around the face. But then the other issue was that And I don't remember which perspective it was that was off of the other, but on one perspective, the butt cheeks were hanging lower than on the other. they were off, and they were much lower, probably by like what would be the real life equivalent of like an inch. Um, just sagging down there. Um, I'm also I'm also waiting till the time, like someone's gonna point it out because I saw it instantly, that he basically has no ass. Like it's flat. So I'm waiting for that to be a running joke. So, but yeah, so Aria is now doing the new art. That's the first piece. So we don't actually have a design for Darla yet, but that'll probably be the next thing that I have her do. But I've already been in talks with her. I think I'm going to wait until probably after the holidays to commission that piece. One, because I still have to build the model for Jake. So it's not like I can use more concept art right away. But also just with the holidays coming up and everything, I kind of want to hold off on spending a bunch more money. The streaming thing doesn't currently pay for the development, so it's kind of got to all come out of pocket. So I'm gonna hold off on that. All right, so I'm gonna mute the music for a second. Okay, hush up, Spotify. Yeah, because we can launch this second. Because there should be credits music that plays. It's not, none of it's the official music. This is all music I've been borrowing. So it starts, but immediately kicks back out. Why? Why is that immediately kicked back out? And then I think it's when we... interesting. It goes to stop it. When it navigates... Because the... Alright. Well, this is where it's erroring, and I could prevent the error by checking that this is valid before I try to pause or stop it. Can literally do this, but that won't solve the actual problem, I don't think, because something is... Those aren't referenced, I don't believe, anymore. Okay, on navigation, enter. We start credits, which launches the credits. Which has us run through this. And okay. But at that point, the credit entries have to exist. So where are we running into our issue? Because it immediately drops back. I'm going to guess that it could have been this guy, because this was set up in such a way that as soon as the credits finished, it was immediately kicking back out to the option screen, which is what was effectively happening. Because that means that if the credits aren't getting created, because I got a loop system that should be creating them appropriately. If they're not getting created, then it's really short and it instantly ends, which would result in that. The print failed to compile. Oh. Alright, well that makes sense, but that's I mean, I'm not concerned about that. We're not actually using. In fact, I can just get rid of this guy now. Because I'm not... Originally I put it in a container, but that was actually causing me more trouble than it was worth. Bum, 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 bum. Since we've got the bug fixed, if this does not make any progress on this, then I'll go ahead and set this aside for now, and we'll work on the inventory system. But I've got a hunch that this will tell me something. I don't expect the credits to play. Like, I don't expect them to show up because I think something's wrong and they're not getting created. But I do expect it to not immediately kick us out of the credit screen. Nope. And interestingly, when it closes out, it's trying to... Okay, so that didn't even fix that, even being a validated get. It plays the soundtrack. The soundtrack plays. And when it exits... Because it's actively playing. Is it exiting too quickly? That would be my next guess. Is it exits so quickly that it's not able to actually close the stuff out. On credits finished. Hello, Key. I am doing well. Did you catch the butt cheek conversation? You think you missed that? All right. Let's see. So, the butt cheek conversation came about because of this concept art. This new concept art I got. I pulled this up, and one of the first things Save said was butt cheeks. I'm glad you specified that I was showing the character. Well, actually, you said shooing off, but showing the character's butt cheeks. And not that I was showing my butt cheeks, because that would be an entirely different show. So, and then I was explaining, yeah, that'd be a TOS issue. I was explaining that on one of the very first sketch I got, I was drawing lines to check that everything was lined up. Like the features were proportional across each drawing. And it came to my attention that I don't remember which perspective it was, but on one of these two perspectives, the butt cheeks were much lower than the other. Like at a glance, you might not notice. You probably wouldn't have noticed it, but I think it would be like the real world equivalent of having your butt cheeks hang like an inch lower. He does. There it goes. I did say, I said that someone was going to comment on how flat his butt was, and you were the one to call him Hank Hill butt cheeks. So I called it. Just happened much sooner than yeah, Hank Hill ass. Yeah. All right, let's see if this fixes that. If it doesn't, then we'll move on and I'll work on the inventory system. Okay. We're still not getting credits. Okay, and the soundtracks, the music stopped when I had closed it out, which is good. We're still not getting the credits to play, but that's a totally different issue. That means that there's some issue in all of this, probably. Credit data. So I think at this point, what I ought to probably do is length greater than 0. I forgot, I gotta do that here. Branch. And this will check to see if that thing's empty. And if it's empty, print. I'm going to print a message to the screen. Where is it? Yeah. Here we go. Let's see. Credits. Empty. Because if that's what it is, if the credits array's empty right now, I kind of have an idea of where that's happening, and I can deal with it later. Yep. Okay. So that's exactly what the problem is. All right. That's... I'm not going to say easy to fix, but at least I know where to start looking. So, we can start looking at our inventory system. And let's see here. I need a couple things. Okay. We need to start off with probably bum, 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 bum. All right, I'm going to need to create a grid panel, I think, first of all. So we'll do this in a new folder. We want... It needs to extend from a... Probably one of the user widget. The... Probably off of this guy, I would think. And so this will be our inventory grid panel, because we need a grid system. So for starters, this is gonna be a screen size situation, I think. Screen size desired, because it's gonna adjust itself. So, so let's set a couple things here. Height. This is going to be an integer. Default it to 5. And width. Also default 5. We'll let the default be a square. And we need a slots type, which I believe we created via code. Yeah. That gives us our primary, temporary, etc., etc. So we're going to default these as temporary slots. And now we need to expose all these on spawn, actually, because this is going to be a reusable widget, so we will have different instances of it. Instances, I can't freaking talk. So we need to be able to change those on the fly. All right, I really hate that particular track. I don't want to switch that. Can we go? What will we get here? No? Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Grid panel. working on the inventory system? Yes, that's exactly what we're doing now. I was only really working on the other stuff because I had worked on the menus and stuff some while I was on my trip, and had not really been able to do a lot of testing on it. And when I got to testing it, I worked on it some more yesterday on stream, and I got to testing it, and then I had that bug where as soon as you opened the menus, the credits started trying to play, and then you would be like stuck in that screen. So I had to fix that. And then I wanted to kind of get the whole thing working, but I decided that was less important. So instead, I am making sure to get the rest of this going. So let's see. All right, so in our pre-construct, we should make sure that the grid gets cleared to reset it. Since it could be getting recreated each time. We're also going to need our height and our width. We can do width times height. Actually, yeah. Width times height. -1, because we want to make sure we're starting one down. And then we need a for loop, because we're using this as an index. And so the reason we're doing -1 is because of the way indexes work. Indexes start at 0, not a for each loop. I need a regular for loop. So indexes always start at 0. So we're going to -1 because that 0 technically is 1. I mean, you could start it at 1. It's just easier from a programmatic standpoint to do it that way. And we need to create... Oh, you know what we don't have yet? We don't have slots. We need slots. Like the actual widget. We need a widget for that. So... user widget. W. Custom, and we want these to be square. So we'll just default them as 100 out of 100. Need a size box. So we can theoretically adjust these. We're about to have an ad in like a minute. We want this to be visible. Canvas panel. That gets our sizing there. And then we gotta load some images. All right, we're about to have an ad. Let's see. Ads. Got about a minute left on ads. I was just importing some graphics in here. Some placeholder textures. Textures. Those are all materials. these materials. Fix up redirectors, and then we can delete that. Okay, because I needed some images. So thankfully, I have a bunch of asset packs I can pull from until I can create custom stuff. So we want our background image. And put our background slot on here. And then we should be able to do another one of these. I want this one padded a little bit so that it's a little smaller. All right. I need some variables. So we'll say hide slots if not empty. Is empty. Is selected. Index, which is not going to be that's going to be an integer. We need a slots type. Slots type. timer. Well, because we'll use the timer for determining things like if you have to hold down on a slot to do something, or an item to do something. Sneeze. Okay, and then for our pre-construct for this guy, we get a canvas slot. Check if it's valid. Set offsets. I think I'm going to be missing some functions because there was some stuff I didn't declare. Yeah, this probably needs to be... Let's see. I need to create a data asset. I guess in here's gonna be fine. Now, if that's the naming convention for that, then I'm going to do like this and name it like that. Let's see. Okay. We need a lot of variables here. Ah, crap. Inventory slot size, integer. Let's see. I need. Oh god, where'd my mouse go? Need to create another boolean for that. Okay. Set pause. Open inventory. Set pause. Open storage. Set pause. Examine world. Unpause. On close. And that should default to true. Let's see. New variable, item, rotation, speed, mouse. Default to 1. Inspect. Item zoom speed. Gamepad. I don't know that I'll need to set those differently, but I'm going to operate on the assumption that I might need to. Since controllers and keyboard and mouse are not, one and the same. Inventory sounds. Inventory sounds. Did I not? May as well just do this. Turn that into a mapping for now. Sound base. Yeah, I don't see one of these yet. Yeah, I'm not looking for boss sounds. That's good. We're just trying to have chill music, not crazy boss fight. Unable to place. Draggable. Shortcut. Combine failed. Add item to shortcut. Auto sort. Message. Switch tab. And inspection item. Shortcuts. Okay. Let's see, boop, boop, and then show pickup. I don't. Boolean. Thank you, Amber. Music got all dramatic and then... Thanks, I hate it. Yeah, there we go. I'm doing well. I'm doing a bunch of tedious sort of setup work that's for the inventory system. save got jump scared by the fart. Yeah, Amber's determined always to jump scare me with the fart. Usually, she does not really manage to succeed because I am alert enough that I see the notification on the screen before I hear it. Especially during these. Well, you say, it's like you glance at the exact moment. It's kind of not that. So there's ever so slightly a delay, usually. Doesn't always, but usually there's ever so slightly a delay between when the redeem comes up in the activity feed on the stream manager and when it actually plays and comes through on the stream. So my ADHD brain is sitting here, I'm working on something, and then there's movement on the screen to my left because the activity feed moves and it has, it kind of highlights whatever just happened. So I see the movement and I look at it, and that's when I catch it right before it usually pops through. Now, if you get me in the middle of a game, I usually don't notice because I'm more locked in generally to games. I don't lock in as hard for this stuff because it's more of a social thing, I guess you would call it. I need a structure. Slot material. Let's name this a little better. You'll be back for game night. So I think tomorrow I'm going to check out. So I have two different indie games I'm thinking of checking out. We'll take a look here real quick. So, well, actually, a couple things I have in mind. The first, I don't think I have the demo for it yet. So, obviously, I want to play Megabonk. I've checked it out. But I was contacted on Reddit, actually, by the developers of this game, and they asked me if I would play it and give input on it. And I have a beta key for it. So I'm going to. They contacted me while I was in San Francisco. Actually, I was not even live at the time. It makes me think of Warframe a little bit from the screenshots. Just the not necessarily the graphical, the style of the graphics, but specifically the patterns on the character. Makes me think of Warframe a bit. Um, so it's a third-person shooter. I don't know, and it's very, very sci-fi. Um, I don't know if their music's licensed, so I'm not going to unmute the trailer. Okay, well that... Is this a different game? What? That looks drastically different. Why does this look different? General cinematic, intro cinematic. What? I haven't looked that closely at the cinematics. This art style looks significantly different than... Oh, maybe this is how it starts. Maybe you get sent into this other world. Yeah, so it's in beta, so I'll probably check this out. And then what was this other one called? I had another one also actually through Reddit. Red Tape Rampage. So the other one is this one, which appears to be like a bureaucracy up that they said has Twitch integration. So you're supposed to be able to hire, like, have your chat be your employees. You're supposed to, like, it's like exploit interns, automate red tape. It's sort of a satire. Well, unfortunately, probably a little too realistic of corporate bureaucracy. But so yeah, this was another one. There wasn't a key or anything involved because it looks like the demo for this one is public. But they asked me to play this one, so I might check both of these out. They're kind of drastically different. The trick with this one is I don't, and they didn't say, and so I'm not sure. I'm assuming you don't have to have like a large chat to make use of it. Like, I'm assuming if I turn on Twitch integration, it's not just going to be Twitch chat that I'm hiring. Like, it'll still have like characters, because otherwise, like, we don't really have a chat big enough for it. So, but yeah, so this is the other one that I was planning to do. In fact, I guess I need to set the demo up to download. Come home from work to work some more. I mean, if you think about it, in a way, that's what I already kind of do with this, because I come home from a software development job, mind you, and then I proceed to work on game development most nights. Even when I'm not streaming, that's usually what I'm doing, is game development. So I don't exactly escape it. Okay, let's see. But those will probably, that'll probably be what we do, because I don't expect, those are the first two games are demo, like those two games are demos, so I don't expect them to take very long. I could be wrong, but I don't expect they have a lot of content because they are demos, and like the one's not even in early access yet, and it's a demo, so like a beta demo. And then once we get done with that, we can play Mega Bonk. I played it for like 10 minutes the other night just to make sure it worked. I didn't really expect it to not work, but it is an indie game, so it could have been crashy, potentially. Let's see. Need a material instance of background slot. Why are there two of those? That's weird. Typo. Gotta fix the typo, or it'll bother me. All right. Background slot. Might as well move that here. That's a material instance. If I want to set up a thing for them, may as well keep them all in the same place. Background slot. Create material instance. bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, somehow it lost that file. That's why it was looking weird. The trailer to Megabonk looks fun. Yeah, it's a lot like is it Vampire Survivors? That's what it makes me think of. I mean, there's a lot of games like that, but I think Vampire Survivors is the one I'm thinking of. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Vampire Survivors. This is what it makes me think of. I mean, this is a 2D game, but it's basically like this. So I've also been playing more Hades. I played Hades like on the entire flight to San Francisco, or Hades 2, but I've been playing Hades 2 on my Steam Deck the entire flight to San Francisco and like the entire flight back. Well, it was the entire flight back, but I think I only played it for a little bit on the flight there. I ended up trying to sleep on the flight there. It didn't work so well, but foreground slot. This is gonna be MI. Base slot not selected. foreground slot. Alright, cool. Face selected. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I was trying to like duplicate this one so that I could just change this one, because by default they're all going to be the same. I was trying to save myself time. It did not work. Oh. Because it always goes to that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Got those created. Oop. Move that there. Is active. Is selected. Let's say blank color. All right, that's that. Let's see. If equipment slot materials. Yeah, the thing that just occurred to me, and I don't know, since Amber's usually at work, I don't know if she'll even hear it this time, is that she, of all people, also missed out on the butt cheek conversation, which I feel like she would have found quite amusing. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we gotta do MI item background not selected. And then I can create a couple of these here. Let's see. Alright, selected color, that's gonna be Let's see. F item slot materials. Selected. Material instance. There we go. Not selected. Dragging. And menu. Selected. And not selected. Let's see. New variable. We need this to be item type. Mapping of linear color. So for weapons, let's go for like a green. We don't need it to be transparent. And then for ammo, I would say ammo, we can literally just let that be white. Let's go with like a blue for consumables. This is another one of those things that, like, I'm setting defaults right now, but this will be one of those things I have to make controllable via what would you call it? Colorblind settings. I mean, theoretically, they could all be white and it would be probably fine for most people. Tools and weapons may as well be the same because they're gonna be, it's actually gonna probably be very rare that you could even have those stacked. So with the exception of like grenades or Molotovs. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do in terms of like a throwable. I want a throwable. If I do distraction items, I might make those tools, in which case that might be usable there. Crafting may as well count as consumable, and we'll go white on that, just straight down the line. Oh, we're on an ad break. And then item, we'll also go white straight down the line. So we'll let the ad break happen. Molotov sounds like it'd be fun to throw around. That's, I mean, kind of my thinking. It's also, since it's a craftable, it makes a little more sense in my mind. Because, again, you're in an abandoned hospital. So the kind of stuff you find is generally going to be the stuff that might have been in maybe like a security office. So you would find like some form of suppression equipment, like a smoke, or like a smoke grenade, or I don't think you would use a flash grenade, but you might find something like that. But you could probably get your hands on, at the very least, like rubbing alcohol, like because it'd be sanitized, medical equipment. So you could get a hold of cloth. So you could you could craft Molotov. The only thing with that is then I have to deal with fire propagation. And fire propagation sounds like it'd be really cool, but also a shit ton of work. So that's a problem for future me. So I do have like some placeholder stuff to work on setting up something like that, like throwables like that. But yeah, that would involve fire propagation as a mechanic, as a feature. So show temp slots. All right, need no. All right, let's go back to Heartbound. We're fast paced on this one too. I was just determined to. Enough free slots to add all items. Not enough free slots for combination. Inventory messages, mappings, text. Where did I put? There it is. Yeah. Right? That's game level stuff, right? I guess we would put this under game related stuff. This needs to be a string table. What does that actually fall under? There it is. ST inventory messages. Oh, that's right. It can't have spaces. Are you sure you want to discard this? Selection success. And you might note that I am, you'll see me do it again here in a second. That I am using these little brackets with 0 in them. And the reason for that is that gives me a fixed set of characters. So like the rest of these strings are meant to be translatable. That's kind of what you use string tables for, is to help with like translations. At least that's my understanding. And so part of text is you might need to replace some of it. And so in this case, if you're splitting a specific item, like a stack of items, say health kits or something, bandages, you have a bunch of them, you want to split them into 2 separate stacks. Whether you're splitting that item or a different item, I might want to include the item's name in the messaging. But I shouldn't have a string for every potential item that I might do something with, because that would get completely unmanageable. And it would mean that every time I wanted to add a new item, I would have to do all that same stuff again for the same item, for each item. So, because of that, we want to make sure that there's something I can like do a search for in the text, and then if I find it, I can replace it with whatever it is I want to replace it with, which wouldn't necessarily be translated. It could be. I probably will try to set it up where the names of items and stuff can be translated. But that will be a little more complicated, and they would be translated before the swap actually happened. So so let's see. We'll just call that invalid discard. Yeah, destroy items. So some items in temp slots cannot be destroyed. Not menu. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Combination. It's not successfully. Split. And boom. And the good news is when I do stuff like this, they can be easily referenced. So and like I can come in here and if I decide, oh, I feel like grammatically that should have that in there. And that should have that in there. And I can save it. And it will automatically be updated. Just like that. I don't have to come in here and hunt for these. I can go straight to my text sources. There's a lot of places across the game so far that across the setups I've done so far, that I am not currently doing that on. But it's going to have to be something that I do across the board. All right, this can just be a Boolean. Alright, I know all we've really done is make a bunch of fields, pretty much. We did a little bug fixing earlier. But I think we've made quite a bit of progress tonight. And we're getting close to that 3-hour mark. But unfortunately, if I go until exactly 3 hours, it's going to put us at another ad break, which will mess us up because it'll mean either we get hit with an ad at the beginning of next stream, or we get hit with an ad right before we end, and I hate ending on an ad. So let me see who all is live. Let's give we're gonna give President Noir a raid, I believe. Yeah, I think that'll be a good option for us. Let's go say hello to Prez. He is playing another new game called Ball Pit, I think. Well, Ball X Pit. I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the X. I've seen it played. It's sort of like almost like a bullet hell type thing. But it also seems to have like town management. It's really strange. And then I am going to call it an evening. Have a good night, everybody.